Ladies and gentlemen, basketball aficionados and bracketologists worldwide, welcome to March Tourney on Tracks. I'm your host, Brandon Tracks Hiatt, and joining me are my electrifying co-hosts, Shawn Lugo and Darrious Lockhart. Today is the day we've all been waiting for. That's right. Selection Sunday is finally upon us. Sean's got his Jayhawks. He's all decked out. He's ready for the show. And I'll tell you what, the 2025 NCAA tournament bracket did not disappoint us once again. It was just unveiled, and we're here to deep dive into the field of 68, analyze matchups, and arm you with an insights to conquer your brackets. Sean, tell us about the energy, man. Is it off the charts? Are you feeling good about the trip to the Final Four and beyond? Oh, here's Darrious.
Well, I'll tell you this. I am pretty excited, even though I don't feel like it's going to be the year for my Jayhawks. But this tournament's going to be electric. And if anyone's been paying any kind of attention to these postseason conference tournaments, they're already blowing your socks off. And it's only going to get better from here. I got some early upsets for you. We'll dive into it. It's going to be a thrill a minute. 22 days away from crowning a new national champion in the best tournament in all of sports. Let's go.
Oh, man, he gave us a little appetizer. Darrious is in the building. What up, D Nice? How you doing, buddy? Are you excited about this Sunday showdown here where we got the bracket? We got it all picked out, man.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing tonight?
What's up,
Yeah,
buddy?
this is a very exciting time of the year if you're a college basketball fan. Um, I haven't really had a chance to really take a deep dive into the matchups, but it's things always intrigue me, man, this time of year.
This guy's very busy, man. Here is the field of 68, guys. Here is the field of 68. Oh my, dude, I'll tell you what. I mean, when you look at it, here, let's start off over here with the Midwest, because, you know, that's what we like, man. That's what we're all about here, man. Okay, you guys see all those guys there, and then, you know, all the teams, and then we got this team here. Oh, man, we got the South. Well, let's go back one more time really quick. Let's go back. I think I glossed over that a little too quickly. Wouldn't you agree, boys? Hold on. Give me a second. Let me get back in there. See here. There we go. Okay. Yep. Okay. So Friday, we've got number 1 versus 16, Florida versus Norfolk State. Wow. That's in Raleigh, North Carolina. Friday, UConn, Oklahoma. And those are two good teams, 8 and 9. Friday, Memphis against Colorado State. Maryland versus Canyon. I mean, it just goes on. Is there any of these games right here that you guys want to pause for the cause, or should we keep rolling?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, and when this first came out, I was really excited about Colorado State because they've run off 10 straight games, 10 straight wins. They started off the season 5-5, but man, have they got hot down the stretch. This is a really hard team to guard. They shoot the three very, very well, and Memphis is going to be without Tyrese Hunter. So just look out for Nico Mevin's squad, man. They're the champions of the Midwest. These guys, they have 3 guards in Clifford, Evans, and Lake that can get after it. 2 of them shoot over 40% from 3. That's something that you love and are scared of if you're a team, especially from a big conference, going into this tournament, one of these hot mid-majors that can catch on fire. These guards are electric. They get after it, and I already have money on Colorado State to upset Memphis because it does look like Tyrese Hunter, their starting point guard, is not going to play in this tournament, and that was huge news to come out. They were able to pull off, winning this, winning the postseason championship. But this Colorado State squad, man, don't sleep on them. They're going to be a little sneaky, and I like that 5-12 upset, baby.
Wow. Okay, Darrious. How about you, buddy? What do you got over here, man? We also got Maryland and Grand Canyon. Can you just unpack Memphis, Colorado State, UConn, Oklahoma, and Florida versus Norfolk State? You want to stick your fork in any one of those, buddy?
That 5-12 every year, no matter who's in that spot, is always an interesting spot. I'm looking at Oklahoma, UConn.
Yeah.
Listen, UConn has been up and down all year. They haven't really shown their championship swagger all year long. They could either be a very dangerous team or be an early out. So that Oklahoma UConn matchup is very interesting to me. On paper, UConn looks like they have everything, should have everything to take care of this game. But there's a guy in Oklahoma that just doesn't quit. Fears. He's a scorer. He can score from anywhere, all three levels. He's very aggressive and very dangerous, and he could be a guy that send UConn home if they don't come with their A game.
I'll tell you what, you two gentlemen brought your A game, folks. So sharpen your pencils and make sure that you guys take a look at this, okay? But make no mistake about it. By Thursday, a lot of our brackets will already be blown out of the water. And for sure, Friday, we'll be packing up. So that's our little disclaimer, just so you know. But these guys definitely got some knowledge for you.
Hey, really quick, 2 tracks before we move out of here.
Yeah,
I know Darrious might agree with me on this, man. These 5 guys are as good as anybody in the country, man, and they're the toughest 4 seed in the country, and that's Maryland, man. Queen, Reese, Gillespie, Rice, and Miguel, man. Nobody wants to face this team, and I'll be honest about.
Yes, indeed.
I think about 2 weeks ago, I put money on them to make it to the Elite Eight as well. What are your thoughts, Darrious? What do you think of Maryland?
Listen, Maryland has what it takes to get all the way to the Elite Eight at least. Listen, the key trait to every team that gets far in this tournament is excellent play in the backcourt.
Yeah.
And that outside of Derek Queen, Maryland has an excellent backcourt. They clamp down and they're very aggressive on D, and they also force the issue as far as like moving the defense when they're playing offense. Very athletic group. Those 3 guys. They can shoot the 3. They can get to the basket at will, and they have the ultimate wall in Derek Queen when they come around them picks and hit that 3.
Yeah, you want to know too. The other thing that's really intimidating is that they can play through their bigs with Reese and Queen, and they can facilitate the basketball, and it opens up these shots for these 3-point shooters in Gillespie, Rice, and Miguel, who are all over 36% shooting 3 on the year. This Maryland team is dangerous. They finished second in the Big Ten. I believe they were 14-6. And the Big Ten was no joke. I mean, it was tough competition all day. But I'm with you, Darrious. I love this Maryland squad. They're sneaky, and they could be a bracket buster, man. Watch out for that 4th seed, man. I think they were a little underseeded. They could have very easily been a 3.
I agree with you because I was one of those guys that kind of went to sleep on them. But I'm telling you, listen, the trait throughout the history of the NCAA tournament, the key trait for every team if they want to get far, you have to have great play in your backcourt.
Correct.
Now they don't have to be superstars, but they have to be steady guys that know how to lead a team and get their guys easy buckets when necessary and play hellified defense.
Yep.
All right, guys, moving on to the other side of that bracket for the West region. We're looking at Missouri, Drake, and Wichita, Kansas. Then on Thursday, also Texas Tech versus UNCW. And here is the rub right here. The Jayhawk, Kansas, Arkansas. Kansas versus Arkansas. We already know who he thinks is going to win with that one, John. And then Thursday, also, you got St. John's versus Omaha. Shawn, go ahead and lead us off with this one and do us a due diligence. And really quickly, shout out to everyone in the chat, man. You guys travel well. We've got about a dozen on XApp right now, and YouTube's holding it down. And Facebook, they're on 56K modem dial-up. They're just now starting to get out of their seats. So appreciate you guys all for showing up and showing out. Share this video, man. Like, subscribe, hit that noti bell. Y'all know what to do. We appreciate your view. All right, let's unpack this Kansas-Arkansas State game like nobody's business, brother.
Well, for me, we played them in the exhibition season, and we lost to them in Arkansas. And I thought it was just, exhibition. We weren't trying. But Kansas has had problems all year with athletic teams. The good thing for us is it looks like Therio is going to be out for the tournament. So that helps our low post so much because he was an athletic big that would cause Kansas problems. We've had Hunter Dickinson, as much as I love Hunt, he just cannot keep up with athletic bigs. Boogie Fland hasn't played in a while, but he is returning for this game. Question is, how effective is he going to be? Can he affect the game like he did in that exhibition game at the beginning of the year? I didn't like when this first came out. I threw my hands up in the air and said Kansas lost. Gosh darn it! But they came out. They opened up at 5.5 points favorites, the same way they did in their last home loss to Texas Tech. I'm going to take Kansas, but buyer beware. I'm going to take them to win one round because if we get to the Johnnies in the second round, forget about it. They're going to strangle us. We'll be lucky if we score 60 points in that game, maybe 50.
Yeah.
And Matt Cooper, you stop those bad words, buddy.
Well, out of all this, really quickly, before we hand the keys over to Darrious, because I'm sure he's going to pack a punch. I like Texas Tech, man. That's out of this bracket right there. They're my favorite, man. They excite me out of everybody here. So, what say you, Darrious? What do you like over here, man?
This is a tough one for me. A little bit. Part of me wants to tell Shawn that Kansas is in trouble, but Missouri is another. Kansas is Arkansas is another team that kind of so up and down, but they're filled with star power.
They are.
And they have a good backcourt over there, but I don't think they have the experience enough to overcome, a team like Kansas. Kansas is a veteran group. There's a bunch of smart guys over there, including their head coach. Calipari is a nice recruiter, but I think Self is a far better coach. But the team that really interests me, and you guys might laugh, is the Missouri Tigers.
Oh,
Hey, listen, man. This is an interesting group. I can't say that. Like, are they great? Do I expect them to go far? No, but this is a very interesting group. They play. They go about eight, maybe 9 deep sometime.
Yeah.
And they play hard. They play hard, and when they're hitting that 3-point shot, they're hard to beat.
wow.
And
Okay.
I'll say, watch out for Drake. Down with Fizzu. But I want to back up tracks here because I really do like Grant McCaslin and Texas Tech. And Darrious, you probably didn't agree with me when you look at a bracket. You look at a player that can affect the entire tournament, a player on a team that can be an MOP, most outstanding player, and they have one in JT Toppin. This guy
Absolutely.
is absolute stud muffin,
bro.
He's not only great around the basket, he facilitates from the basket, under the basket, and Hawkins at the point is another great facilitator of the basketball. He can also shoot the three. They play the inside-out game. The biggest question marks for me with Texas Tech, because they missed them in the Big 12 tournament, is if Darren Williams and Chance McMillan are going to be back. If they're going to play in this tournament, and Grant McCaslin said earlier today, it looks like they might be able to play. How much is the question? So can they play enough to affect the game, and stay, especially in that second round matchup that could possibly be against Missouri and or Drake. And I don't want to sleep on Drake. That's a really good basketball team, and they play really good.
You are correct.
They shoot the three very well. And you know me, I'm a Kansas guy, so I hate everything from Missouri. So
Oh man. Shots fired. What up, Coop? Coop's in the building. He says, what up, guys? Go Arkansas. Anthony says, why Colorado State a favorite? They are the 12th seed. So they got
that sounds like a guy who's not really hasn't had a lot of experience watching this NCAA tournament. Every 12 seed is a threat. Trust me.
And I'll tell you this 12 seed, and you guys can go look it up if you like. Colorado State, they're one of the hottest teams in the country. They've won 12 of their last 14, 10 straight. They started off 5-5. They were able to come back and win their conference, step their automatic bid. This is a legit squad. And they opened up as 3.5-point favorites. So that's telling you what Vegas thinks about how dangerous they are as well. So
I'll tell you what, guys, I want to just kick things off, circle back and go back to the cream de la cream, the number 1 seeds, man, really quickly
Yeah.
before we move on. I just wanted to hit the Midwest up first, rightfully so. You know, that's our neck of the woods and whatnot. So I tell you what, the selection committee has bestowed the top spots upon Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida. Auburn boasting a stellar 29-3, as you guys know, claims overall number 1 seed, reflecting their dominance throughout the season. What is there any surprises to you about this, Shawn, that Auburn gets the number 1?
Absolutely. I am absolutely flabbergasted. I have a message to everyone in the NCAA tournament. Whoever plays Florida, good luck. Let's just be honest. They're
Yeah.
impossible to guard, man. They cut well. They have constant motion. Even when the offense stalls, you got to keep your head on a swivel for back cuts. And let's be honest, how many teams got in from the SEC? 14 teams. This is why Florida should have been the number 1 overall seed and not even looking back at it. They have the best resume of all the teams in the SEC. They won at Auburn. They beat Alabama twice. They have 2 wins over Tennessee. That's 5 wins over the top 1 and 2 seeds in this tournament. This is absolutely a travesty. I understand Auburn has the best, they say, resume throughout the season. Florida has been the best team over the past 2 months. Without a doubt, in my mind, they should have been the number 1 overall seed. Not only to add to that, they shipped them out west. They said, here, you're going to be the best team, but we're going to ship you out west, take your home court away. I was very upset about that. I think Florida got a raw deal.
Here's what I got excited about with Auburn when I really delve into it and I looked into it, not just being known for the juggernaut that they are, but leading the nation in defense efficiency, holding opponents to an average of just 62 points a game. 62 points a game. Oh my God. Darius, what do you got to say, man? Is there something to look at with Duke? I mean, let's be real. Their top freaking gunner is out. Will he be back? I don't know, man. What do you got to say about Duke? What do you got to say about all this, top echelon, the cream de la cream, Darius? I'm sure you've got a word to say or two.
Absolutely. I've never been a stranger to this. Duke is my team. Duke is my team. And that's who I'm rooting for to go all the way. But I want to go back for a little bit. Sean, I understand your feelings about Florida, and I'm in total agreement with you. But Florida is a team constructed of, a lot of unheralded players, and Auburn has a star on their team, and I
Sure.
think that was what gave Auburn the edge in as far as the number 1 seed. Now, the play on the court should speak for. Should speak for that. But listen, man, those politics seem to creep in every now and then. You know what I mean? But as far as the Blue Devils are concerned, listen, the Duke is loaded. They're
Yeah.
loaded. They can play any style of play that any team wants to present to them. Cooper Flag being injured with the ankle, I think is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I heard he might
It's
come back before the tournament's over.
he's definitely coming back.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, I mean,
Yeah.
like we have some young players, but this is not a young team. This team is full of upperclassmen and transfers.
Yeah.
So we understand how big this moment is, and no one understands more than Cooper Flag. Even though he's already looked as the number 1 pick, this can rise his stock up, a lot higher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this will be a critical tournament for Coach Shire
Yeah.
because we're gonna really see because he's gonna have to coach. He's gonna have to coach these guys. And we're gonna see, but I don't have a doubt that we'll be one of the teams in the Final Four.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. And a little factoid that backs that up there, Darius. Only 4 teams this century have entered the NCAA tournament with a plus 35 rating or higher on ChemCom. 0-1 Duke, who won the national championship, 37 plus. Kentucky, Final Four 2015. Virginia, national champions in 2019, plus 35. 2021, runner-up Gonzaga, plus 36. There's 4 teams that are plus 35 in the KenPom rating this year. That's Florida, Duke, Houston, and Auburn, my friends. So, and one other little factoid. Auburn has lost 3 of their last 4. No team in the history of the NCAA has lost 3 of their last 4 games entering the tournament and has gone on to win the national championship. So just a couple of things to chew on as you guys are biting on and filling out your brackets.
Oh, man, he's dropping bars, dude, with over 30 in the building. I think we got a surprise guest, but let's see, man. I don't want to put this person on the spot, but hey, let's not overlook Duke. Like I said, I know Sean's not a big fan of it. Listen, I'm not a Dookie, but I do, hey, man, you know what? They've been dormant for long enough. So like my hate for them is kind of like really like gone. It's been a long time since I've hated on Duke. So them being up here, it really doesn't bother me that much. But like I said, with a 28-4 record, the Blue Devils have been an offensive powerhouse, averaging 85 points per game and shooting 48% from the field. Oh my God, that's ridiculous, dude. That's bananas. How many freaking dude, that's a lot. I mean, you're going to have to throw some D. I'll be honest. That would be exciting to see a team that's got the type of defensive prowess that Auburn has go up against Duke and see what happens. That would be exciting. That'd be cool. But I tell you what, every Selection Sunday brings its share of controversies. This year, North Carolina's inclusion as a number 11 seed has raised some eyebrows. Despite a 1-12 record in Quad 1 games, the Tar Heels secured a spot, leaving analysts questioning the committee's criteria. What do you got to say about that? And then, the flip side of teams like West Virginia out there and Indiana that were left out, Sean?
I was a little disappointed. I didn't think North Carolina would have been in, and their explanation was if UAB would have upset Memphis here in this in the championship game this Sunday afternoon, that would have knocked North Carolina out. Yeah. But when you go 1-12 versus Quad 1 teams, they say, "Oh, you remain competitive, this and that again, and stay in games." That just doesn't get it for me. There was some questionable things. I think West Virginia was knocked out because of the injury to DeVries, and they said that played an impact in it. So I don't know why you play the entire season if you can get knocked out because of an injury. I didn't like them, and I don't like Xavier. Xavier's another one. They had between North Carolina and Xavier, they have 2 Quad 1 wins on the season. I think they're 2-21 or 2-20, something like that. Just awful. And Xavier probably shouldn't have been in this tournament. Indiana definitely. I thought they clinched their spot when they went up to East Lansing and won a couple of weeks ago. Their resume is much better. I think there was a little bit with North Carolina that was a little overlooked, but
we got Michael in the building. Sorry, Sean.
How we doing, guys?
What's up, buddy? Thanks for coming in, dude. I wish you would have came in a little bit sooner when we were unpacking the Midwest. I felt like you could have really done your due diligence over there, man.
Dude, there's so many. Like, the Midwest is tough, but it's the West that is the hardest. I don't know, like that whole region to me is crazy. But I know you guys were just talking about North Carolina, so I don't want to jump in and interrupt what you guys were talking about.
We'll save that for later. So basically, we were just talking about teams like West Virginia and Indiana being left out, despite their higher net rankings and stronger resumes. And for fans, it's a tough pill to swallow. We were just going to ask Darrious, and now you obviously, and then also the Tar Heels, that whole situation. But let's go ahead and continue on down. Michael, what's your take on this, man? Are you a little disappointed in some of the things, but happy about others, or how you feeling?
Like, on the topic of North Carolina, it's probably the biggest brand bias I've ever seen. Like, it's kind of that simple. Like, you can kind of almost look at it with college football and the whole Alabama situation, how people were debating they should have gotten over Clemson. Really, it was only because of their name. Like, they were Alabama. They didn't get in. The committee did the right thing there. But North Carolina, 1-12 again in Quad 1. They don't have a win over a team in the field. Like, it's just they've had 10 opportunities to do it and they haven't. And the reason they gave, it almost sounded like the committee, Florida stated, West Virginia. They said they're not going to have Tucker DeVries, who by the way hasn't played since January.
Did
This
you
isn't
just,
a new
did you just
injury
make
or
a
anything.
verb, Michael, or is that a verb that's been around for a while? I'm a little older.
No, it's
than
just
you
one
are.
I just made up. They
I
just got
like that.
Florida.
That's a bar. Do you guys like that? Let's use that. Florida Stated. That's kind of cool.
I mean, it was just a terrible excuse, like saying that Tucker DeVries' injury hampers West Virginia when they haven't played with him in 3 months and have still looked like they should have been in the field. But Vegas also got it wrong. I think Indiana was like minus 3,000 to make it heading into today, and Texas was like plus 500. So those obviously flipped. So not even Vegas knew, which just goes to show the committee does kind of whatever the hell they want. There's bracketologists everywhere that'll tell you who should, who shouldn't get in, but ultimately it's up to that room of people, and they always seem to do something unconventional every year.
So let's take a pause for the cause before we break on through to the other side with Darrious. We got some good stuff we want to ask him, continue on that question if he's disappointed about anything. But first, ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring to you our new proud sponsor, Wanna Parlay. These guys have been on this app and they are smoking it, man. They're having a good time. Shawn, Darrious, they love it, man. They get in there. It's only $2 to get in for a shot at taking home some huge cash bags. So listen up, guys. It's tournament time, and the new daily fantasy sports app we just found out about with the absolute largest payouts on parlays is called Wanna Parlay. WANNA, Wanna Parlay. I downloaded the Wanna Parlay app on my phone, and it's so much fun, guys. You can compete against me, Darrious, Shawn. I wouldn't recommend those guys, though. Come get me. Come take my money. Chicago sports podcast listeners, guys, to see who can combine a few picks and build the best parlay. They've even got a chat feature where we can trash talk and brag, and in the letterboard, it's got all our picks ranked, and everyone can see it. So if you stink like I do, you're really going to hear about it. But like I said, it's just $2 for a shot of taking home a huge cash prize. It's a blast. It's so simple to use. And there are new basketball, hockey, baseball, and combat sport contests every single week. Again, the best part, it's only $2. I want my $2 to enter a parlay into a contest. Plus, there's always a free-to-play games too. It makes watching the craziness of the tournament and all sports so much more fun. Here's what you should do, guys. Just download the Wanna Play app. Click around. If you decide to upload money to play and get into action, use promo code CAPBLOCKS, TRACKS, for 100% deposit match for up to $250. Put in $20. They'll give you 20 more. How about that? So download the Wanna Parlay app, use promo code TRACKS, and let's play the world's richest parlay today. Must be 18 or older to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER today. That is our new friends, Wanna Parlay, guys. All right, Darrious, back to the riveting question I asked you earlier, man. Are you a little disappointed about some of this action going on here?
Man, listen. I didn't want to see Carolina in this because I don't really feel that I don't feel like they deserve to be in number one, but I understand why they're in, and it goes back to what I said earlier. The politics of the game, man, they find their way in there somewhere. UNC is a prestigious program, and they still have a little mystique that's being held on to by the NCAA, and that's the reason why they're playing in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Their brand is huge
Yep.
still, and they're not gonna they would have to be super terrible to be left out. And I thought they were terrible anyway, but
I thought they were pretty terrible.
Yeah, they were pretty bad. I also think it would have been hilarious that their season would have ended due to that lane violation against Duke. Like, that would have just been so funny.
Oh, my God. You know what? And here's the deal, what I'm hearing from you gentlemen, and I was thinking about this earlier too, but obviously Indiana, close to home. I was hoping, right, guys? Come on. But the selection process is unpredictable as a tournament itself. Metrics do matter, but so does the eye test. And as Darrious mentioned, there's a little extra to it that we got to look out for. Let's talk about some potential Cinderella teams. Shawn's already touched on it a little bit, but he left a little meat on the bone for Tracks and the rest of us. Let's talk about these darlings of March, the Cinderella teams. Every year, lower seed quads capture our hearts with improbable runs. Who's on your radar this year, Shawn? Let's start off with you, bro. I'm keeping an eye on UC San Diego. I hope I didn't take your pick. I just wanted to get out there. So,
No, I know this is going to be tough. And Yale, who's Yale going up against? They got
A&M.
A&M. Yes, I have Yale dancing again. The Bulldogs are back, man. Second year in a row. This team, senior-led backcourt. Pocatus shoots 40% from three. You got Bez Menby. I can't even pronounce his last name. He's another guy, 36% from three. Nick Townsend shoots 48% from three. 58% from the field.
Shawn, that's why I like UC San Diego, bro. They shoot 39%, dude. They're freaking giant killers.
Yep.
26-6 record, and they got a lethal 3-point. So that's kind of
I
just wanted to throw that out there. It's kind of similar but different. Sorry about that, buddy.
No, I love Yale because this is their back-to-back. They have pulled the 4-13 upset last year versus Auburn, sent them packing. They have experience. I'm going to take them over A&M. I know the SEC is dominating this tournament, been the best conference all year in college basketball, but I'm liking Yale in that 4-13 upset.
You hear that, Karan Amagaji? If you want to be on Shawn's show, he's showing your college a little love. What say you, Michael? What say you, buddy? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm with Shawn. I like Yale against A&M, and really the main reason is the 3-point difference between Yale and A&M. I really felt like this is a terrible matchup for A&M. They got screwed with this draw. I felt like Yale's best shot to win would be going against a team that doesn't shoot the three ball very well, and that's exactly what A&M does. They only shoot 31% beyond the arc, but I don't want to just copy Shawn. Another team I am looking at is VCU. That's a team that I really liked coming into this, and there's a lot of matchups like this where it's high octane offense versus lower slow playing defense, and even the other ones in another 11-6. But VCU, really good defense. Again, BYU, one of the deepest teams in the country. Their bench, there's really no fall off between it. But VCU's just, I like going against defense, or I like picking defense in March. I also like the location. You got to look at location for these games. This game's in Denver. I think that also helps VCU a lot. And moving on to the next game, if they were to win, I think they'd play Wisconsin. I don't think they'll have much of a problem with Montana. And again, location matters. Wisconsin's just played.
You already got your bracket filled out, bro. It sounds like you're already down to the five. What's going on over there, Michael?
I've got a lot of it filled out. There's a few I still gotta decide between.
But for the most part, breaking pencils and smoking erasers, dude. What's going on, man?
Yeah, just a little bit, but I mean, I like VCU because if they can beat BYU, that second round matchup against Wisconsin, obviously Wisconsin just lost the Big Ten title today against Michigan. They've played 4 games now in the span of 4 days. Very tough to do. Now you got to fly back home to Madison. Then you got to fly back out to Colorado with the altitude change on Thursday, play a game. I think, like I said, I think they'll be fine against Montana. But then you got to turn around, play another one that's 6 games in a week. I don't know. That just seems very hard for Wisconsin to overcome. I'll take VCU to Sweet 16.
I don't want to misspeak on Darrious, but I do, from what I gather, he likes to go with the hot hand and guys that are staying warm instead of cold. I don't know, but that sounds like a lot of travel and then the altitude and all that. Darrious, what do you think, buddy? Is there something to that, man? Or are you still going to stick with the, the stay busy approach?
I mean, I have a preference, when it comes down to, situations like that. I like to roll with the hot hand, as you said, but that altitude, man, listen, you got to be a special kind of player to defeat that, man. That makes things a lot harder. But, listen, it's tournament time, and you just never know.
Right.
But the altitude the altitude sometimes can be a bigger opponent than the guys you're actually facing, man.
And if I could jump in there, Ryan Odom from VCU just took his 3rd team to the NCAA tournament. He is a coaching maven. I liked VCU coming in here, and I hate to go against Michael here, but I did take BYU to the Elite Eight. I just think they can shoot the rocks so well.
Dang, BYU
I know.
did great.
If you could get a Elite Eight matchup with BYU and Alabama, that would be awesome. Like that game, that 100 first to 100 wins that one.
Yeah. Lights out, baby.
Oh, that would be awesome. Like
All right,
I wouldn't complain.
Here, as I say that, Michael, VCU is still a very good pick, and they could very easily upset BYU. That's a fantastic first-round matchup. When I saw that come out, I was like, oh, I started rubbing my hand.
Yeah, and BYU just a slight 2.5-point favorite, so obviously Vegas thinks it'll be close.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be a fun. What day is that on? Thursday or Friday?
Ooh, I think Thursday, 3.
Oh, okay. They haven't put the times out yet, have they?
They have. They just did about 30 minutes ago.
What time does Kansas play? I'm sure that's the first thing you looked at.
Yeah, that's definitely what I looked at. Where are they?
Darrious, I got to hear your Cinderella. What do you got, buddy? Did they leave any meat on the bone for you? I think they did.
They did, but like I said earlier, I didn't really get a chance to really dig into the brackets. But
well, if you don't mind, I'd like to help you out a little bit because I think this is a team you could speak on, or one of you other gentlemen.
Well, I was gonna say this. Listen.
Okay. No. Okay.
Any team,
yes, sir,
that can shoot the three.
Yep.
At a prolific pace, has a chance to beat some of anybody.
I like that. That's a bar.
And I mean, that's just what I've seen throughout the history of the NCAA tournament.
Gotcha.
Teams that can shoot that three at a high clip. Listen, man, the 3-point shot is hard to guard. And any team, like these teams that base their offenses around this 3-point shot, they can come out here and shoot 55, 63% from the three. They're going to beat everybody.
Yep.
And that's just what it is, because you can't have a rebound without a missed shot.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. So the team I was going to help you out with is so I left a little bit because I felt like somebody would have gobbled this up, but Drake, the Bulldogs at number 11, man, they got a tenacious defense. We were talking about that earlier, Shawn, about how we love the defense. And I do respect the three. Don't get it twisted. But, dude, allowing just 63 points per game and have won 12 of their last 14. When in terms of, going with the hot hand, Darrious, the defense checks the box, and so does the hot hand, 12 out of 14, man. Drake at 11 could be that Cinderella, buddy.
But Michael's getting furious.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I like what I've seen from Drake.
No disrespect to you, buddy.
I like what I've seen from Drake, but what I do know, if you can shoot the 3-point shot at a prolific pace, you can intimidate a lot of teams. A team. Sometimes your offense can be your defense, and a team that can really light it up from three really has a psychological advantage over a lot of teams who, who are not prepared to get punched in the face.
Oh, okay, dude, listen, before we talk about who's cutting down the nets in San Antonio, I want to go around the horn. I think we stopped off in the West, right? So let's take a look at this really quick. I got some things that we got to look over.
Oh, you got it now, baby. Let's go.
Is that what you like there? Is that what you like? Okay. What do you guys see there? Let's break that down. We got Houston and SIU Edwardsville. I'll be honest with you. I'm not even quite sure about that.
I don't even know where that school's from. We were when that came out. My wife goes, SIU Edwardsville. I'm like, yeah, never heard of them. Bro. My brother lives in Gonzaga. One of my brothers lives, out there, Spokane area. My sister too. They've always been pretty good. You guys know that. Mm-hmm. Georgia looks pretty good this year. Clemson, McNeese, Purdue, High Point. Come on, Purdue. Get local. You guys know that. Illinois. Let's go, Illinois. Texas, Xavier. Okay. Did you guys know I used to call it Javier when I was a kid, because there was a kid in school. His name was Javier, and that's how he spelt it. So I was just like, who's this guy that's Javier playing? He must play some really good basketball. Tracks talks about him all the time. Kentucky, Troy, UCLA, Utah, Tennessee. What do you guys see there that you guys would like to chew a little meat off the bone on this? Let's unpack it, man. The Midwest. Let's start with Michael, because he came in a little late and he said he wanted to talk a little Midwest action.
For the West down, or yeah, for the Midwest down there, I think Tennessee is a really easy path to the Sweet 16. I don't think, obviously, Wolford not someone I'm going to look at to trip up Tennessee. UCLA, Utah State, I think both play very well into Tennessee, and then also the rest of that region there. I know probably a lot of Illinois fans watching due to the Chicago area relevancy, but the Illinois team, they'll shoot a lot of threes. They don't make a lot of them at all. I think they're shooting just a 31% clip now, even though they'll throw up about 40 a game. Kentucky, a very similar team, more efficient on offense, but I don't trust that team to go far and continue shooting that three. I think Tennessee lucked out really well with their bottom half of that region. Also, side note, I love all these one seeds, and I really loved Houston. Gonzaga hasn't missed a Sweet 16 in almost a decade, and every odd year, they've made the Elite Eight. It's a weird betting trend, but going back to 2017, every odd year they've made the Elite Eight. I think they might be able to trip up Kelvin Simpson's best team that he's had probably in a long time. I think that's the upset I'd pick is Gonzaga over Houston in the round of 32.
Wow, man, I'll tell you what, dude. Here's the thing about Uzan, man. Look at this dude's hair. He's not worried about it, dude. He's
I know.
laser focused. He's got great hair. Darius, you're a barber. What do you got to say about this kid's hair? Isn't it pretty good, man? He's not worried about it one bit when he's shooting that rock, dude.
No, when you playing ball, that's the last thing you worry about is your hair. He can come out there, he can come out. He can come out there with an afro as big as the sun. But when it's time to play ball, it's time to rock and roll, baby.
It's nice though. It's nice. He's not worried about it for sure.
And with that team he has on the front of that jersey, his
Yeah.
coach Sampson gonna have them guys ready, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, at this time, I think Coach Sampson is due.
I know you've talked highly about Houston.
He's due for a deep run. He's been through a lot, man. And some of it is his own doing. But the guy has really kind of reinvented his reputation and reinvented himself and done a hell of a job with that Houston program. And I think he's due for a long run in this tournament. This particular region, the Midwest, Gonzaga will always scare me. They've been scaring me since the '90s, and it's not going to stop now.
Man. Hey, if you saw where it was at, it is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that is the town, dude. That is the city. It is Gonzaga. That's it, man.
Like Tennessee is a very, very good team, coached very well. They just they have moments in games sometimes where they disappear, and in this one and done situation, you have to always be on task. I love the point guard they have, Ziegler. He's a hell of a player. He gets those guys up and ready to go. He's really the motor. He's really the motor of that club. And if a team finds a way how to neutralize them, then they destroy Tennessee. A lot of people, some people won't believe me when I say that, but listen, it's been shown. They had Don Connect last year, so he had a lot more help. But this year, if you cut off the head of the snake, the body will soon follow.
Shawn, where's the head of the snake for you, buddy? What are you looking at in the Midwest? I know we've been beating this up to exhaustion. We've already been talking about Midwest earlier. Hopefully we can roll on to the next one at the 45-minute mark. There's so much to unpack, dude. There's so much.
Well, I'll tell you this. Juwan Roberts will be back for this tournament. And I gotta say this. Houston's dangerous. They're likable. They're gritty. They're tough. And this team finds ways to win. They're an absolute powerhouse, 19-1 in the Big 12. They've won 13 straight games. They have the experience, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier before you got on. You look at a player that can be the MOP of a tournament, Milos Uzan, who is featured right there.
Right there.
Absolute stud. This guy knows how to get it done. He's a winner. You got Emmanuel Sharp, LJ Cryer. I mean, I think it's a bad draw. I think Gonzaga got hosed a little bit being an 8 seed. That's going to be a tough matchup for Houston, but I think Houston will move on. I'm looking forward, and I do believe this will happen, Illinois, Kentucky, and I think Illinois takes that game. That's my personal
let's go.
That's my personal thought. And I'm taking Utah State to upset UCLA, and they're going to give Tennessee everything they want and more.
Wow. There's a bar right there, man. And once again, I like that guy's hair. All right, let's move right along. Let's move right along. Here we go. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. What's up, Brandon? What's up, Aunt Mass? Appreciate you guys for showing up and showing out. Wow, you guys are really packing in the little F-bomb there, Dustin. Clean language, bud. All right, here we go. Let's get into the South, guys. Let's talk about the South. Who are we? You know what? Let's circle back and let's stay with Shawn. Shawn, what do you like here? We've got Auburn, Alabama State or St. Francis, Louisville, Creighton, Michigan, UC San Diego, Texas A&M, Yale. Obviously, you spoke highly about that earlier. Ole Miss, SDSU or UNC, Iowa State, Lipscomb, Marquette, New Mexico, and Michigan State. I like Michigan State, dude. I'm a big Michigan State dude. I'm also looking at Michigan, but I'm not going to go too much into it because I want to hear from you guys for sure. Let's go.
I'm gonna have to back you up here, Trax. I'm really liking Michigan State. I think they do a lot of things. They're very hard to guard. They don't play, they don't play conventional. They separated themselves in this power conference, this year. I just their toughness, their physicality. I think they're going to be a matchup nightmare for Auburn. And I actually did a bracket earlier today, and I took Michigan State coming out of Auburn. I just did a little BS one just to see what I could crack out. I do like what Michigan's done here, and I'll be perfectly honest, when it comes to Michigan, it's another team that I can't stand. But if you were to look back and say that they were 3-14 in the Big 12, they had 24 losses last year. They finished second or third in the Big 10, excuse me. They finished I think third in the Big 10 and had 24 wins this year. Dusty May, just an amazing job. But kind of what Michael said earlier, these games back to back, then you're coming in short weeks. It might be a little bit tough, but I'll tell you, Golden and Wolf have been amazing for them. And, when you have those two terrors down low and Donaldson can facilitate and shoot the three from the backcourt, Michigan could be dangerous. This is an actual really tough bracket, and Iowa State is going to be missing one of their starters. So that plays a role in them moving on because Gilbert is officially out for the tournament, as far as I heard earlier today. But if I'm taking this away, I'm going to take Michigan State versus Auburn. I'm going to stay chalk here, but I'm going to take Michigan State to drop Auburn and knock them out.
Wow. I love it. What say you, Michael?
I'm going to be really boring because Shawn said a lot of what I wanted to say. But I do think one team here that should feel hosed again is Louisville. Louisville, I thought was going to be a team on the 6-7 line. They got screwed with a 9 or with an 8, excuse me. But yeah, they should be disappointed but it's just the committee did not like the ACC this year. I don't think a lot of people like the ACC, myself included. They got screwed a little bit. They probably get bounced by Auburn. I like them to beat Creighton, get bounced by Auburn. This Michigan team I've hated for 2 months now.
Wow. Don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I thought this is the most fraudulent team in the entire country.
Fraudulent.
Getting the UC San Diego draw had me excited. And then I saw UC San Diego doesn't have a single player over 6'8", and Michigan's entire offense runs through two guys that are 7 feet tall.
Yep.
But when I fill out my bracket, I will not pick a team that I don't think is good. So I'll pick UC San Diego to win, but I just do not like this Michigan team. Yale, I kind of talked about them already. Iowa State, the Keyshawn Gilbert injury is big. That's a team that I wanted to pick to beat Michigan State, but no Keyshawn Gilbert. I can't pick Iowa State. The whole talk with them is wait till they're healthy. They're not going to get healthy. Obviously, we got to wait to see who Ole Miss faces, but I might like whoever wins that game to beat Iowa State. But yeah, Shawn took a lot of it. I think this one goes a lot chalk. Auburn versus Michigan State in the Elite Eight. I'll take Michigan State, though, because like Shawn was saying earlier, teams that have lost 3 of 4 heading into the tournament don't win at all. I really like this Auburn team, but Michigan State, I think the loss yesterday will help them in the long run.
Michael walking away with a smoking gun. And let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't see him on the podcast for a while, don't put a bolo out. I think I'm going for a couple teams that he's not fond of, just to say. Just say it.
Hey, Trax, really quick, I did want to give a shout out because we shouted out Michigan and their great turnaround. And as Michael pointed out,
yeah,
Louisville with Pat Kelsey. I mean, this team was 4-28 last year. To turn around and have 27 regular season wins, finish 18-2 in the ACC. I'm also with Michael here. Yeah. I don't believe in the toughness of the ACC either, but that's still a remarkable turnaround and a hell of a job by Pat Kelsey to have this team be in this position. You know, almost an exact reverse of what they did last year. Fantastic job. This is why I love college basketball, for stories just like this. I hate Michigan, but again, it's a great story that Dusty May was able to come in his first year and turn that program around. And trust me, Michael, I hate Michigan with all my heart and soul. And it hurts me to say this, but got to tip your cap when it's due. Yeah, it's due for 100%. Both of those clubs, man.
Definitely. I'm just, again, it's a total vibe issue when it comes to Michigan. Like, just watching them, like, I don't see an elite team. Again, props you winning the Big Ten tournament. That's obviously very hard to do, but it's just, I've never seen a team win so many close games with buzzer beaters basically from half court, just in the craziest ways possible. Like, this just isn't going to go on forever. But like I said, the matchup isn't exactly the greatest as it looked with UC San Diego. They probably win, but I just can't pick Michigan. I can't do it.
Wasn't it crazy as you say that, Michael? That's how they won the Big Ten today. They were trailing the entire game, and they pulled it out in the last couple of minutes. It's insane.
That's why some team, again, you can look at it two ways: is it's lucky or they just know how to win in close games. But again, we've seen, I kind of allude to like the 2022 Vikings, how they just always seem to win a close game. Win a close game, they get to the playoffs and lose at home to the Giants. So I think most of the time those teams just come back down to earth in the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey, what happened? Did we lose Darrious?
I don't know, man. I'm wondering what maybe he wants to get on the camera, or I know he just got home from work. I'm sure he'll be back if he can. So I'm not worried about it. He should be all good. But yeah, so I think we pretty much touch everything in the South region. If he comes back, remind me and we'll get back into it. But
let's go Yale Bulldogs. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. It's all good.
Hey, I love that kid, Pokadis or Pokadis.
Pokadis.
Dude, he's fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
He is so fun to watch.
Let's so let's get back into, we just did the South, right, guys? Now let's move on over. Where's my next slide? The East. How about the East, man? Let's get into this a little bit. Oh man, look who they're. I did not create this picture, Shawn. I don't need two guys mad at me tonight. I don't need all that smoke, dude. All right. So look at this, man. Look at this. We got Duke, American, or Mount St. Mary. I mean, dude, talk about the easiest path. Mississippi State, Baylor, Oregon, Liberty, Arizona, Akron. I almost said Akon. BYU, VCU, Wisconsin, Montana. Oh, that's an easy one. St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, Alabama. What say you? Let's go with Shawn this time. Let me see what's going on with Darrious.
Well, this bracket kind of shakes out, man. I mean, I think Michael and I might agree on this. This is a pretty easy path for the Blue Devils.
Yep.
I will say the one team in this bracket that scares me the most, and just because they've seemed to find themselves after they lost themselves, is the Arizona Wildcats. They can get after it. I really like how they played down the stretch, how they played in the Big 12. They gave Houston everything that they could. Now, Houston was without Juwan Roberts, who is one of their biggest keys to their season. But Arizona is the only really team that I see that can match up with Duke in this bracket. And Alabama, who I love, I'm a huge Nate Oates fan. I hope when Bill Self retires, he becomes the coach of the University of Kansas. Love Nate Oates. But they're playing a little banged up, and they've looked a little rugged down the stretch here. So I think Duke's going to play Houston in the Final Four. I think that's the matchup. And I mean, again, for me, Arizona, I like a lot of chalk in here in this bracket. I really do. And you know, again, Arizona's the only team that I really see that might be. I mean, if Alabama's healthy, I think Alabama can threaten Duke. That's 100% a fact. I love Alabama. I think their Sears is absolute stud muffin. So, but I mean, they just gave Duke the easy way out, man. It irks me.
Yeah.
It irks me. I have the old saying: "When Duke loses, America wins." So,
Yep.
what do you like here, Michael? What are you seeing?
I've seen a lot of people picking this Liberty Oregon 12
Yeah,
over 5. Those are the popular ones. I don't see it. I am
I don't
not
either.
buying it whatsoever. I mean, just look where this game's being played. It's being played in Seattle. I mean,
Yeah.
Oregon's playing a home game. They're playing in their home state. Like,
Yep.
you can't pick against a team that's doing that. I think that's a fake sharp from a lot of people that think like Liberty is going to be able to knock off Oregon. I'll take Oregon all day, and I like I like a lot of chalk here. This is a little boring. I went over that
Yeah.
BYU pod already a little bit there, but this again just feels like collision course for Duke Bama in an Elite Eight game. Very good game, but again, I'll have to take Duke coming out of this one.
Yeah, and I'll tell you to that Oregon point, Dana Altman, he always has his teams ready for the tournament, and he switches up that style. He doesn't play like one base style. He's always switching his offense, his defense. He keeps teams on their heels. I'm with you. I don't think Liberty has much of a shot here. That Baylor Mississippi State game. What's his name? VJ Edgecombe. If he can come,
Oh yeah,
he can be one of those guys that kind of takes over a game. One of those MOPs that raises his bar. But I'm with you, man. I see a lot of scratch here, and a lot of chalk, and I just don't. I do like the 7-10 matchup. I'm going to take Vanderbilt over St. Mary's all day, too. I mean, outside of that, I'm going Duke. I'm going to go Baylor just because I'm Big 12, but that game is a coin flip. I'll take Oregon. I'll take Arizona. I'm going to take BYU. I'm going to take Wisconsin. I'm going to take Vanderbilt, and I'm going to take Bama. So I'm pretty boring in this one. I know you like VCU, Michael.
Yeah, that's the only way we're going to differ a little bit. Is I'll go with VCU to dance into the Sweet 16. But again, overall, there's just not real much here to threaten Bama. There's not much here to threaten Duke until they run into each other, and when they do, it's just hard to not pick Duke.
Yeah, and you want to know, I saw this earlier, and I snapped a photo of it. They had odds to make it to the Final Four. 69% for Duke, 58 for Auburn, 52 for Houston, and 50 for Florida.
It's so top heavy this year. This is an unprecedentedly top heavy year where when you're just looking at this bracket all the way through it, you're just like, I can't see this team losing. And you want to pencil in all 4 1 seeds into the Final Four, it feels like, but you just know deep down it's like that's probably not going to happen. And figuring out which one is going to bow out, it's impossible. It's just so hard this year.
For me personally, basketball heaven would be Houston versus Florida.
Yeah,
that would be like, I get my popcorn ready. I'd be glued to the television. That would be a fun basketball game right there.
Darrious, what do you got here over in the East, buddy? You see any teams that excite you?
Yep. Duke.
What you got? Oh, Duke. That was easy. That made Michael leave really quickly.
Nah, but on a serious note, I really can't see much.
Okay, so we got Duke American versus St. Mary's, Mississippi State, Baylor, Oregon, Liberty, Arizona, Akron, BYU, VCU, Wisconsin, Montana, St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, Alabama. I can't see the bottom of that. Let me get rid of that tracker. I think that's what's going on here with this deal. You guys, is it cutting you guys off too?
Yeah, I can't see it, but it doesn't matter. That team's not winning anyways.
That's hilarious.
I do like St. Mary's to beat Vandy. I know that might not be much, but
Michael and I just went the other way. We took Vandy to beat St. Mary's.
Yeah, that might not mean much, but I think the thing about those teams, the St. Mary's and the Gonzagas, one thing they have over a lot of these other teams is overall chemistry and camaraderie. Because they don't have the guys that's going to be one and done and going to leave early, and sometimes chemistry can overcome, what you lack in talent. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some talented guys over there, but chemistry helps, man. Chemistry is a dangerous thing when you're going up against it. I've
Yeah.
seen it too many times. I've experienced it too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move right along over to the next one. Here we go. We'll talk about it. We got the West. All right. The left coast, the West Coast.
Chop
Florida,
chop, baby.
Norfolk State, Yukon, Oklahoma, Memphis, Colorado State, Maryland, Grand Canyon, Missouri. Did I say that right, Michael?
It's close enough.
All right. I don't know, man. I've been there. I visited some people, and I saw a shirt. It looked like what was it? I want to say this. It was freaking John Deere. It looked like a John Deere shirt, and it said "Nothing tips like a cow. Welcome to Missouri." So I was like, okay, cool. That's where we're at. We're gonna have a good time. And I tried it. It didn't work out too well. We'll talk about that later. Missouri and Drake. No wonder you got mad at me earlier. Texas Tech, UNCW, Kansas in Arkansas, St. John, and what's that bottom one? Can you guys see what that is? Omaha. Thank you. All right, who wants to tip it off? Let's start with Darius, man. What do you see there, man? What do you like?
Looking at this thing, of course, Florida. I like Florida. I'm kind of, I got a little bias. Like I said, I got an ex high school teammate that's assistant coach for them, and he's been telling me about them all year long. And all they had to do is put their head in the game. They could be special. And
Wow.
as you can see, things are coming to fruition.
Best team in the country.
Yeah, with no superstar. Just a lot of grit, and they play hard as hell, man. Maryland, is that it? That's Maryland there.
Yeah, Maryland,
Maryland, Grand
Grand
Canyon.
Yep.
Maryland is very interesting, and of course, we talked about Arkansas and Kansas. St. John's, coached by good old Patino Senior, man. That's a very interesting club. Can they hold things together throughout the rigors of this tournament will be the key. But Florida, man, I think Florida's got something going, man. They don't have they're a team without a huge ego, without a bunch of egos, just a bunch of guys that love ball
Yeah.
and they play together. They become one when they get on the court, and that's something that's very valuable when you're trying to win a championship. But I see Florida getting through this thing, by the skin of their teeth, because again, the backcourt play is very important to me, and they have three guards that are very good, steady guys, and Florida loves to play defense, man.
Well, up until this point, with Shawn now being the disclaimer here and being a Jayhawk, Arkansas, we got Ronnie Brewer. He's ready to come on the show. Not tonight. We dark Michael. But depending on how hard Shawn goes on Arkansas, will probably dictate whether the guy ever makes it on the show. But I think we'll be all right. No, I'm excited to have him on. I hope you guys, one of you guys are a Ronnie Brewer or Arkansas buff, man, because he loves it out there. So
Very familiar. Hey, what's the chance of you getting Bobby Portis on the show?
There you go.
I don't know. We could check into that, but it's very, you know what? It's interesting. It's kind of limited right now, but I think it'll open up and you guys kind of know why later on down the road. But as of right now, I'm kind of excited about that. I like that guy, man. He was one of my, he wasn't like, superstar, but I really liked him, man. He was a good dude. What say you, Michael? What do you got out there? Obviously, Missouri.
Yeah, I love Florida coming out of this region. It's really hard not to. What they're doing, Walter Clayton's playing the best basketball I think he's played in his entire college career coming into it. But the intriguing part about it is the bottom part. It's the bottom half, and really the bottom four teams. You have three coaches in that bottom conference that are already in the Naismith Hall of Fame with Bill Self, John Calipari, and Rick Pitino. Like, you're setting yourself up. Assuming St. John's doesn't get upset in that second round, you're going to have a matchup of two Hall of Fame coaches, depending on who wins that Kansas-Arkansas game. I don't trust Calipari anymore in the tournament with what he's shown last year, getting upset as a 3-seeded Kentucky against Jack Golke. Again, I think when it comes to the tournament, you can look back at teams that maybe were a little bit overrated, didn't live up to their preseason expectation like Kansas did, but the talent's still there. It's why they were the number one preseason team coming into it. Like I said, maybe didn't live up to that standard being a 7 seed here, but I'll take the talent and Bill Self, and then that'll set you up. Bill Self versus Rick Pitino in the second round. I would take Bill Self there. I would take Kansas and the Jayhawks to beat St. John's in advance to the Sweet 16 because I'm not the biggest fan of the St. John's team. And I know a lot of people do, and I see why. They're the number one defense in the country. I just don't think their offense can really keep up. And like I said, the talent's there on Kansas. They can compete with anyone. It's just whether they want to show up or not. Normally, Bill Self, though, he has his team playing their best ball in March and in the tournament. I'll take Bill Self.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to change the show to 5-star now after all that buttering up. So I'll tell you what, Michael, I'll tell you what, you were on the bench, dude. You were just in the chat, and, I didn't know what your schedule was like. I would have definitely liked to dial you in on here with the three of us, but I'm glad you came in, man, because you sound like, you're obviously of the part, but like you've been doing your homework, man. Shout out to you. Thank you, man.
I love this style. I've been following college basketball all year. Selection Sunday, it's like Christmas for those that follow the sport. It's awesome. I love it.
Well, hopefully you can come on with us Wednesday because Shawn has a great idea about Wednesday. We'll talk about that later on, and then we'll follow up with some stuff too, and awesome. get on that app and get on Wanna Parlay and have some good times. Shawn, sweet. Did we leave any meat on the bone for you, buddy?
Yeah, I like Michael's confidences in Jayhawks.
Yeah, let's go.
I think you got more than I do. This St. John's team does interest me. Former Jayhawk Zuby Ejiofor has just been an absolute gem. I wish he was still in Lawrence. Just a couple of quick notes. Rick Pitino. Talk about Hall of Fame coach, man. He's the first coach to take 6 different teams at the NCAA tournament, and he's also the first coach to win 5 conference tournaments with 5 different teams. He might low-key be one of the best college coaches, if not the best college coach of all time. I mean, just based on his resume. He's also the only coach in NCAA history that's won a national title with 2 different teams, which is also really impressive. Johnny's defense is like a boa constrictor. They remind me a lot of Houston, where they just gobble you up and kind of make you play their game. Their big man Zuby, who I love and wish he would have never left Lawrence. He can get out. He can guard the guards on the perimeter, and then he has the ability to pop back and take care of the low post. He's been so impressive this year. The team that I would really like, and we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, Tracks, was Texas Tech. But that's going to really depend on the health of Chance McMillan and Darian Williams. If they're both playing, they missed the Big 12 tournament. So if they come back, I mean, they can be a threat because, I mean, they took Houston to it, and they played really well without 2 of their best guys. So they could be a scary matchup, down the road if they get into, playing the 2 or, the 3, or they are the 3, the 2 or, maybe Kansas or whoever comes out of there. They could be a big time threat. And I touched on this earlier. About 2 weeks ago, I threw $100 at plus 550 on Maryland to make the Elite 8. So I really like Maryland's makeup. I love Derek Queen. I love Julian Reese. Their backcourt can really get after it. Can really shoot the ball. Gillespie, Rice, and Miguel. They're 5. And I mean this, and I know Darius is on the same page as me. I think they're 5, if they're on, are as good as any starting 5 in the country. I think they are the toughest 4 seed. I really like this Maryland ball club. Derek Queen as a freshman is an absolute beast, absolute stud. So, and obviously I took Colorado State earlier in the 5-12, but so did Vegas. So I thought I was all cool. And then I looked at the line. Damn it. But I mean, I think Florida's the best team in the country. I've said it throughout the show, and I don't think that they're going to get tripped up in this bracket. Congdon and Hauk, how can play the 4. He can pick and pop from the 3. As Michael said, Clayton Jr. is playing his best ball. It is such a good basketball team. They just know how to play together. Ty Golden's got them rolling, and I do believe, for me, it's going to be Florida and Houston in the national championship game in 22 days from right now.
I do think it is worth noting with Texas Tech, the 2 injuries. Those are big injuries.
They are.
I do think they can beat Wilmington without it. Moving on to that next round, it is worth noting, though, whether those 2 guys will be available and what % they're at to pick them to keep moving on. I mean, obviously, the game above that I'll be heavily paying attention to. But and again, right when that matchup came out, I was not happy at all, just due to how good Drake's defense is. And obviously it's Missouri's high octane offense versus a team that doesn't allow a lot of points. In fact, the least in the country. Look into it a little bit more. I think it starts to look a little bit better for Missouri with Drake not having anyone over 6'8". I mean, it is worth paying attention to Mark Mitchell's injury. They did say he should be 100%. And if that's true, I think he goes off for 25 and Mizzou probably wins this comfortably. But that's how they got exposed Drake. It's on the height. It's not exactly Missouri's strength, but they definitely have the advantage there with a few 7-foot guys, Trent Pierce, Peyton Marshall, Josh Gray. They got guys that can take advantage of that. If they're able to do that, I think they take care of Drake handedly.
And I tell you what, one thing about Drake, circling back to what Shawn said, defense, and that's what that St. John's going to bring, right? Because Patino, looking back, almost 2 decades of dominance over there in Louisville. Talk about that defense and humming, man. Ridiculous. Oh, yeah. I mean, they had some guys go down, and they weren't all really big guys. But I tell you what, they played some hella defense, and their game was not pretty at all. They really didn't even have, like Darrious was talking about, 3-point shooters. They didn't have those guys either. Like, I couldn't fit. It was just that suffocating defense, man. It was freaking amazing. And there goes Darrious. Come on back, Darrious. We're gonna pass it over to you, buddy.
And here, I'll tell you this really quick. As much as I said that, and talking about McMillan and Jesus, I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Darren Williams being hurt. That UNC Wilmington team has been hot. They do a lot of things well. They can pick and pop. They got some good guard play. They won 6 of their last 8. That's not, with Tech not being healthy. That's going to be a tough matchup for them as well.
A lot of bench points for Wilmington too. 37% of their points come from their bench. It's a deep team.
Yep. They're deep and they're experienced. So if you're looking for an upset, just check on the health of Williams and McMillan, because, this is a time where you don't have your big players. It's going to be a thorn in your butt, and that could be a nice upset. I'm going to keep an eye on that. I might be throwing some money on that money line on UNC Wilmington.
There you go.
They're plus 1,050 right now. That means, dude, you put $10, you win $150, dude. Do it. I might do it. Right now.
right now. All right. So what do we got here? This is very interesting. I want to go over this really quickly. We went over all of them, right? Did we?
Yeah.
Okay. So check this out. I got some other ones really quickly. I've got to pull it in full strength now. Where are you at, buddy?
Yeah, we were just talking about that 413 upset, and right here, it's 70%. Man, that's God. I'm going into the sports book right now. Enough of it. I don't trust the health, so I'm gonna place a bet. And I already did a 2-team parlay upset. I took Yale, Texas, and Colorado State as a 3-teamer. I put 50, and that's to win like $400 because it was plus 250 and then plus 130 and then minus 135 or whatever. So. Get them in, boys.
Looking at these numbers, look at the results by seeds, since 2018. That's a good run, man. 7 years. 1 versus 16, 22-2, 91.7%. 2 versus 15, 21-3, 87.5 are the metrics. 3 versus 14, 22-2. It stays pretty high up there. 1, 2, 3, 4 gets a little bit lower. And then 5, it's starting to level out little by little. But look at 6 versus 11, it's 50%. And then 7 versus 10, 14-9, 8 versus 9. You guys see what's happening here. But that's what's interesting about the bar that Michael talked about earlier. Very interesting to see some of those lower teams, but they've got, really good coaches, and there's some things that could happen. There's some things that could break, and that's why you need to listen to us, because we're going to straighten it out for you guys. Michael, what do you got? You got anything that you want to add to this round?
I think it is worth noting with the 6 and 11 being basically 50-50 toss-ups over the year.
Yeah.
2 of the 11 seeds this year will be the first 4 playing games. So we don't know exactly who will be playing it. They'll be playing Ole Miss and Illinois, though. Every year, a first 4 team has won. Every single year. So if you're looking to pick one of those, obviously, I don't think you're going to be picking a 16 seed to beat Auburn or Duke. But if you are, congrats to you. You're insane. But if you're looking for a first 4 team to make it through, I'd be looking at one of those 2 teams that win, whether it's North Carolina or South Dakota or San Diego State or Texas Xavier against Illinois. One of those teams will probably win. But again, those 2 teams got to figure it out which one's even getting there first.
Let's hope it's not against ILLINI.
Yeah.
All right. Do you like Illinois, Michael?
I'm indifferent. I mean, I think I'm technically not supposed to go into Mizzou, but honestly, I don't really care too much.
The border war.
Yeah, it's something like that. But I'm indifferent with Illinois. Again, if they get the right matchup, I think I'd rather see them. Well, it's Texas, or I'd rather see them face Texas. I don't think Texas is very good, but if they face Texas, I'm confident Illinois can win. But Ole Miss is definitely interesting because I think it would be funny. North Carolina probably shouldn't get in. Then they win their first 4 game and then win a tournament game. I think it would be pretty funny.
Isn't it when they played Kansas for the national championship in 22? Weren't they a playing team then? And they went all.
They
the way
may
to
have been, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I thought they were. So they've got a little history of that magic.
Yeah, Caleb Love that year just went absolutely insane in March.
Let's talk about this multi-bid conferences really quick, guys. You touched on that a little bit earlier, Shawn. 14 out of the SEC, 5 out of the Big East. Big East was the one that had that dominance for quite a while. I think noting back to 11 or 13, I forgot what it was, but they had the largest amount of teams by conference. Big 10 is 8. Shout out to Big 10. 7 in the Big 12. In the West Coast, only 2. And then 4 in the ACC and Mountain West. What's your guys' takes on this? Let's start off with you, Shawn.
I'm a little, 14 teams out of the SEC seems a little bit insane to me. You have Texas, Oklahoma. They finished 6 and 12 in the conference. And then you had Arkansas and Georgia and Vanderbilt, who also finished 2 games under 500 in the conference. I think that should play into it. Of the teams, I believe Texas had the most quad wins at 7 of the bunch. So, honestly, Georgia was a surprise to me. I did not think Georgia was going to make it in this NCAA tournament. Yeah. Arkansas, I thought, was on the fence as well. They were kind of a little bit of a surprise to me, even though obviously they're a 10 seed, so they were a little bit more comfortable than I thought. Arkansas just doesn't have the resume that screams to be in this tournament. So I guess I was a little surprised, and some teams that I thought should get in, as we talked about earlier, Indiana coming on strong towards the end of the season. Maybe they deserved it. And as Michael touched on, the DeVries injury, it wasn't a surprise. And West Virginia, I think, might have earned their way into this. But again, I'm double talking because West Virginia was under 500 in the Big 12. So,
yeah. What say you, Michael? What do you got on here, Mud?
Yeah, I think the SEC probably had 2 teams get in that probably shouldn't have. Texas being one. I mean, they're in the play-in, but technically it counts as being in the tournament. Oklahoma, I thought, played their way into it. Arkansas was one that was very, very close. I thought could have gone 50-50. I maybe leaned them not getting in. Vanderbilt is very close as well. But overall, I mean, it just kind of, I thought, spoke to it. One, the ACC is very weak. I thought the committee did a good job not overselling the ACC. And I think it's also worth noting going forward now, if there's a conference that completely separates themselves from the rest, like the SEC did this year, they're going to get rewarded. I think a few teams got seeded higher, like 1 or 2 seats higher than most people thought, Missouri being one of them. I think most people had them on the 7 line heading in. They got the 6. Ole Miss, probably a 7 as well. They got a 6. So just moving forward, it's worth noting if there's a conference that's separated themselves, people say is the best in the entire sport that year, they're probably going to get rewarded in March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too. And I was wrong. Missouri actually, or not Missouri. West Virginia finished 10-10 in the Big 12. I thought they were one game under, but they were not. So I'll just make a quick correction there. So yeah, then if I'm saying that and they finished at 500, they should probably been in over one of these teams that were 4 games under 500 in conference play. The committee doesn't always get it right, but then we sit here and we bitch about some of these teams, and those are the teams that end up making it a deep run into this tournament. So Ohio State was another one that was on the fence. I thought they just kind of fell apart towards the end of the season, but that net ranking of 36 for North Carolina, that's great. But the thing for me, you're 1-12 against the quad 1, and you have no wins over any team in the tournament. It just doesn't bowl well. And they got shellacked with a Cooper flagless Duke team.
Flagless. I like that. Flagless. Hey, can you guys, Michael, can you explain this graphic really quick for the folks out there that might not have seen it, what they're referring to when it says last 4 in, last 4 out?
Yeah. So every year there's 30, what's the exact number? I think it's 39 at-larges. It's in the high 30s. Anyways, there's 4 teams left that have to get in. Those are, and the last 4 in, those will be the 2 games you see played in the first 4. So you have the 2 16 seed games, and then you have the 2 of these games being played Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's basically just the last 4 teams that got in. There's a cutoff every single year. Normally the bubble is a lot more clear. This year it was pretty bad in terms of just team quality, but overall, these are just the last teams that the committee thought deserved to get in the net. It's just a resume ranking that the NCAA will post. You can visit it online. It's just look up NCAA net. It'll be like the first link that pops up. It's just an overall ranking of your resume. It'll list all your quad 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, your record on a neutral core, and then it just, I don't know what the formula is, but they're able to put it all together and give every team a ranking, and it's kind of just your resume ranking.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. And then like Darrious said earlier, a little bit of politics there. So here's your field of 68, guys. Here's your field of 68. This is what we got. It's a lot of teams, man. A lot of teams out there, man. It is crazy to look at this. So
yeah, and you know what? Really quick, the first games that jump off of that Creighton Louisville game and High Point Purdue, and Seth Davis picked High Point to upset Purdue in the first round on the selection show. So that might be a nice 11:40 tip on True TV for everyone to keep an eye on there.
Oh, there we go. A little bar there. Little help for you guys, man. I hope you guys are sharpening your pencil. These guys got some bars for you. All right, now let's get back into the discussion, man. I'll tell you what. Okay, like I said, who do you guys see cutting down the nets in San Antonio? I would like to lead off by saying this, guys. I want to roll with Auburn, Duke, Gonzaga, St. John. Auburn's defense is suffocating. Duke's offense is explosive. Gonzaga's experience is invaluable. And St. John under coach Rick Pitino has been revitalized, guys. I tell you what, you guys already can tell I like defense, right? Well, my next question was for Darrious. Let's go ahead and let's hear what Shawn's got to say, man.
Yeah, my Final Four, I kind of given it away throughout the show here, and I'm gonna stick with Florida.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick with Michigan State. I'm gonna stick with Duke, and I'm gonna stick with the Cougars. I think this is going to be the year that Kelvin Sampson not only gets to the Final Four, but he's gonna win his bracket. I think the defense, him and that matchup with Duke, I don't think Duke would face a scrappy defensive team that just knows how to win, knows how to suffocate you, and knows how to take away your best player. And they'll eliminate Cooper Flag from this game the best they can. That's hard to do because the guy is a dynamo, probably could be playing in the NBA right now, but they'll do their best. I believe in Kelvin Sampson this year. I believe in the Cougs. I believe in Florida. I think Michigan State will be the team that knocks off Auburn. I think it's going to be Florida. I think it's going to be the Cougs. And against my better judgment, as much as I like Florida, I've been thinking about this.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna take the Houston Cougars, and I'm gonna give Calvin Sampson his first championship.
Oh, wow.
I think this team is poised, man.
Yeah.
Uzan is a stud. Juwan Roberts is a stud.
Yeah.
Tugler down low. I mean, they got LJ Cryer. They got Emmanuel Sharp. I mean, they are just anywhere you look, that team is deep. They're good. They're experienced. And I just think it's their year. I really would prefer Florida to win because I've been preaching that for months now. But I don't know, man. Something's just screaming Houston to me right now.
You know what? I will say this. I've got a couple outliers. I did 4 of them, and I'll tell you what, I'm kind of with you on this, except for the Auburn. I also would like Auburn and Duke, but I also did add Houston and Florida to the mix. Houston's balance attack and Florida's athleticism make them formidable contenders, man. I like exactly everything that you said there, except obviously we don't agree on the Auburn thing.
Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State. No, I think Michigan State's going to go far, and they were like right there. It was Michigan State, Auburn. I probably should have went with Michigan State, but I got to ride with that. That's my second. That's my second set of
Auburn. Auburn can pull that game out, man. They're a really good club. I mean, this Elite Eight has an opportunity to be a fantastic Elite Eight this year.
But let's hear from the. I was going to say Nutty Professor, but just because you've been so tough on me tonight, buddy. What do you think, man? Where are you at? Where are you at with this?
Yeah, I'll start with the Elite Eight. Auburn, Michigan State. I'll take Michigan State in that one. I think these top 2 regions kind of feel chalky to me, so I got Duke over Alabama. I really don't like putting 1 over 2s in the Elite Eight. It just feels like it's not going to happen, but just with how good both those teams are, I don't know. I don't have too much of a problem. Little down below, I think the Midwest by far the most chaotic, but I have Tennessee beating Clemson in the Elite Eight there. That's a game that if it were to happen, I actually don't know who I'd think could win it because I think both teams can really suffocate each other at the same time and just kind of go off on each other. I know I've talked down on the ACC, but I'm not making the same mistake I did last year with Clemson. They're returning most of that production where they made the run last year. Experience helps you in March, but they fall short to Tennessee and what basically been the number 1 defense all year up until now at St. John's. Then, as much as it pains me to put them that far, I have Florida beating Kansas in the Elite Eight there to advance to the Final Four. So then the Final Four, Michigan State, Florida, Duke, Tennessee, Florida versus Duke in the championship. The 2 top teams in KenPom right now, 2 historically good seasons, and Duke caps it off with a run of freshmen at the helm to take down the Nets in San Antonio.
Wow. I'm going to do my best Darrious impersonation because he's still having some technical difficulties, and I hope I do him some justice, okay? In the most svelte voice radio DJ late night that I can, Darrious voice, solid picks all around. Personally, I think Duke's offense firepower, led by freshman phenom Cooper Flagg, gives them the edge to claim their 6th national title, and I think that's what he might say. So, but anyways, let's get right into the Wanna Parlay, guys. Let's talk about Wanna Parlay really quickly. A word from our sponsor. This episode of March Tourney on Tracks is brought to you by Wanna Parlay, your premier platform for sports betting. Look to add some excitement to your March Madness experience. Check out Wanna Parlay for the latest odds and betting options. Remember to bet responsibly and lock in the promo code TRACKS. They'll match you 100% up to $250. So TRACKS, TRACKS. So yeah, let's delve a little deeper, guys. Let's delve. What the heck did I just put up there? I'm sorry, guys. Sorry about that's my son's stuff. Let's delve deeper into the bracket. Shawn, any first round matchups that have you buzzing? I would like to say this one has got me buzzing. It's between Louisville and Creighton. For me, that's a must watch. Both teams are evenly matched, with Louisville averaging 74 points per game and Creighton close behind at 73. For me, it's a coin flip. Shot, I'm sure you got something really good to share with us.
Yeah, I mean, I just touched on that Louisville Creighton game to kick off the tournament. That's going to be fantastic on Thursday morning.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting games for me moving around. I'm just going through the bracket here. I mean, BYU, VCU, we touched on that earlier. I think that's a fantastic, fantastic first round matchup. I really like Vanderbilt, St. Mary's, and we bitched about the committee not getting it right, but there are some fantastic first round matchups. Still, when you're looking at it, I think Illinois, whoever Illinois ends up playing, whether it's Texas or Xavier, I think that's going to be a fantastic matchup as well.
Yeah.
My boy Michael's Missouri team is going to have their hands full with Drake. I think that's a lot of fun. And hey, guys, I just put $25 plus 900 on UNC Wilmington to take down Texas Tech. So
wow, dude, I'll tell you what. Here's Darrious he's got to have a little concern about this in the second round. The clash between Duke and Baylor. Baylor's defense ranks in the top 10 nationally, and facing Duke's high octane offense could be an epic showdown, guys. It could be something that's really exciting to look for, but I'm very excited to hear what Michael's got to say.
I think the most intriguing matchup, looking at it, I mean, there's a lot of good games. That's why I don't really like picking a super high favorite game. But I think Purdue High Point, if you're looking for an entertaining game, these are two of the best offenses in the country. Both teams like to run. Purdue's the 7th adjusted offense in the entire country. High Point, even a mid-major, they're 25th in the country. Braden Smith, a really good point guard. Probably the best point guard in the entire country, honestly, for Purdue. There's going to be a lot of points in this game. I think it's going to be really entertaining. I do think Purdue wins it, but overall, I think it's a very entertaining game. I know I mentioned Reese Davis picking High Point in that one. I really wanted to, but I just trust Braden Smith a little bit more. But it should be overall a really fun game. Lots of points, high-paced, high-tempo, really fun college game there.
Boy, somebody's getting a lot of notifications over there. They sound like a busy person. That was a lot to unpack for sure. I would like to speak on something with you guys really quick, you gentlemen. Historically, certain trends that you look out there, you got to keep an eye on, and I know you guys definitely do that. For example, since 1979, Michael, that might have been before your father was born. Just maybe. But no number 5 seed has won the national championship. Since 1975, no number 5 seed has won the national championship. So this year, that includes teams like Oregon, Michigan, Clemson, and Memphis. So buyer beware of that. Shawn, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any 6 or 7 or even 5 seeds winning it. I really do like the chalk here. I'm scanning over it here. If I were going to pick a team, I'd have to bite off of Michael here and take Brian Barnwell and the Clemson Tigers. I mean, I told you the other day, Trax, that I made a bet, 3 teams that I took that I got at good odds to get to the Elite Eight. They were Michigan State, they were Clemson, and they were Maryland. Those are the 3 teams I bet. And like Michael said, they are returning that team that had a nice run. They have experience. Mm-hmm. So if I was going to pick a lower seed, I'd probably roll with Michael here, and I would take the Clemson Tigers 2-1 versus the top 25. They only allow 65 points a game. They're great defensively. So I Chase Hunter is really good. Dylan Hunter's pretty good. Dallas Thomas is good. Ace Buckner's good. I mean, this is a really good basketball team. And like Michael said, we bagged on the ACC just a little bit today. They're not as good, but I mean, Clemson is the only team in the ACC to trip up Duke. So you got to take that into consideration. Duke, 1 loss in the ACC is to Clemson. Clemson had a deep run last year. They returned their class. They're very well coached. I'm with Michael here, man. If I'm picking a lower seed, I'm going to take the Clemson Tigers.
That's a solid bar. And I would like to touch a little bit about that lower seed teams that make the Final Four. Last year we had an 11 seed in the semifinals, right, Michael? It's just a testament to the tournament's unpredictability. But let's not forget the first round upsets, man. Teams seeded 9 through 12 have won at least 11 games in the round of 64 in the past few tournaments. Last year alone, we saw 2 12 seeds, a 13 seed, even a 14 seed advance. That's why March Madness is the greatest event in sports, guys. It's so cool. It's so great. I'm excited to have some fun with you guys. Michael, is there anything that you'd like to add before we close out the show?
It's going to be a fun tournament. Again, we're all sitting here, me and Shawn, we've had a few regions where we probably think it's going to go chalk, most notably up at the top of the bracket with the South and the East. More than likely, if you come back to the stream in 2 weeks, you're probably going to look at how big of a dumbass both of us look because of what ends up happening. Who knows? Auburn gets upset in the round of 32, and we have a team that we didn't like Michigan. They're in the Elite Eight. I don't know. It's completely unpredictable, and it's why this is the best sporting event. It's the best sporting event that can go on. I mean, I don't care about soccer, so I don't even want to touch on that. But for America, this is the greatest sporting event, and it all starts Thursday. That first Thursday tip-off, it's kind of just euphoric. I know I'm going to just sit on my ass, do nothing all day, and watch basketball.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you what, I like what you just said there, and I'll tell you, if history tells us anything, Michael and Shawn, Thursday and Friday are going to be absolutely bonkers, guys. Everyone knows the legendary 12 versus 5 upsets, but last year we saw some wild results, including a number 15, a number 16 seed advancing to the second round. If you're filling out your bracket, don't just blindly pick the higher seed this tournament that thrives on chaos, man. I mean, since 2012, we've had 9 instances of 15 seed or 16 seed winning a game. And let's not forget UMBC in 2018 and Farley Dickinson last year. History is being made more often than people realize, guys. So that's why this tournament is so special. We're about to see players we've never heard before become household names overnight. And that's what makes March Madness what it's all about, guys. Shawn, I mean, dude, I'm excited, man. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I don't see any. I don't see any Villanovas. They're the lowest seed to ever win the tournament as an 8 seed. I don't see that this year, but at the same time, I guess you never really know.
Right? Yeah. I'd say if there's one team looking at the 8 line, it's Gonzaga. I mean, they're top 10 in Torvik. They're top 10 in KenPom. It feels like they're underseeded. Feels like they should be closer to a 5, and they're an 8. Yeah. If there's one team, but again, if they win that first round game, they run into Houston, one of the better teams we've seen over the past decade, according to KenPom. So they get screwed heavily there, but that should make for a great round of 32 game. And like Shawn said, you just never know.
Well, and that was my first 4 was Auburn, Duke, Gonzaga, and St. John, if you remember. And I think Patino's squad has the magic this year. And, Duke, Cooper Flagg is a generational talent. So, but, can he come back healthy? Will he come back the same? That's to remain. I don't know. And I don't know what's, and like I said, Darrious, he's got a little detail more on the Duke, but, yeah, I mean, the other thing too is Shawn's a little down on Auburn, but I do like Houston. I do like Florida. I think Houston's defense intensity will carry them deep, and Florida's athleticism makes them dangerous, man. But I mean, you got Michigan State, Gonzaga, Florida. But still, a lot of people think that Duke's got the easiest path, and they'll be cutting down the net in San Antonio, man.
Here, and I'll tell you this, Trace, not being down on Auburn, and history has been known to be bucked in the past.
No, yeah.
Still a solid pick. They have an impressive team. They've had an impressive season, but no team in the history of college basketball has lost 3 of their last 4 and cut them down. But if there was one, I could say I could take Auburn and I could see them doing it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But before we wrap this up, guys, I got a few words of wisdom with these guys. Let's not overthink it. Remember, in the last 45 years, 41 champions have been a number 1, 2, or number 3 seed. The Blue Bloods exist for a reason, fellas.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why they're there. They're just continued success.
But that doesn't mean that you guys can have some exciting, riveting things all the way through this tournament. You can have a lot of fun doing some things and down up some crazy crazy bets on Wanna Parlay. I'm sure Shawn will give you some ones that are really freaking light your hair on fire for sure.
It's the hardest tournament to bet. It truly is. And we're going to do our best to knock them out of the park for you. Like I said, I already took Texas plus 130. I don't like Xavier at all. I mean, they were preseason. They were top 15 preseason, and they just fell apart. They haven't been able to do it. They got one quad one win all season. Texas at least has 7. They played a tough schedule in the SEC. They might have finished under 500. But I like their makeup. They're experienced, and they have a first-round draft pick in Trey Jones on that team who could just take over a game and just be unstoppable. So I like Texas. Hopefully Texas then will get tripped up by ILL, I. Hopefully. But we'll see. One of my best friends graduated from Illinois. He always roots for Kansas, so I got to return the favor. Keith, love you, buddy. Let's go Illini because Michael has a lot more faith in Rock Chalk this year than I do.
Yeah. Again, it's just completely unpredictable. I don't like seeing Kansas succeed, but when it comes to paying money for my bracket to do well, I'm going to try and just kind of go off what I think they can do. And again, when you have a good head coach like Bill Self, it's just I like to bet on coaches winning, and especially with if that region sets up well. Again, Shawn, we talked about Texas Tech and their injuries.
Yeah.
If I'm picking Missouri to beat Drake and then Texas Tech to beat Wilmington, then if I think the injuries catch up to them, and then I pick a Mizzou Kansas Sweet 16 matchup, I don't think I have the heart to. I don't think I could watch that game.
Michael, I couldn't stand to lose to Missouri 2 times in the same year. I almost hung myself in December.
Dude, I'll tell you what, though, speaking about hanging, it can get a little crazy in the early rounds. But honestly, guys, what you got to do is you got to hit on a few key upsets to really stand out in your bracket pool, because that's where it's just like, bro, Shawn just hit a bar. Michael, oh my God, you see that? He's freaking bananas. How did he figure that out? And that's where you kind of make a name for yourself. And if it's wild and crazy, who cares? Because they're expecting you to be wrong anyways. Just don't throw a lot of crazy money on it when it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta live a little bit. You definitely got to live responsibly like that. But most importantly, guys, enjoy it. Have some fun like we did tonight. It's the best sporting event, like Michael and Shawn was saying, and myself, of the year, man. It's the best sporting event of the year. No matter what happens, it's going to be one hell of a ride, guys. I mean, thank you guys so much for coming on, guys.
Hey, check this out, Trey. I got a gambling party here on Saturday. We're going to be doing strip cards. We're going to be doing squares. Whoa. We're going to be doing darts. We're going to be watching every game. It's going to be amazing. It's just 10 close friends. We do it every second round Saturday of the tournament for years. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait to do it. Watch these games, hopefully win some money on some strip cards. That would be fantastic.
I tell you what, I think Michael and I are going to bring our sleeping bags over in a bottle. And I think if you go 10, might as well do a dozen, right, Michael? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's
do it. I'm all in. I'd love it. I'd love it.
Hey, guys, listen. One more shout out really quick. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Wanna Parlay. Again, if you're looking for the latest odds, betting insights, or just want to add some extra excitement to the tournament and get in the chat and talk some trash to Tracks, make sure you also put in the promo code Tracks, capital letters TRACKS. Shawn is at the helm. So is Darrious. We tapped in Michael now. Make sure you guys put that in. Get in there. Talk to us. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun, man. We're going to have a lot of fun in March. It's going to be great. So check us out, man. And remember, bet responsibly. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything you guys want to close out with?
Hey, I may be down, but they had my heart. So Rock Chalk Jayhawk, let's do this thing.
Oh, I love it, man. Michael actually goes to Mizzou, guys. He's the smartest one out of the whole bunch, okay? I went to the Lighthouse for the Blind. I went to freaking number 3 South Regional Liberal of Liberal Arts in Virginia. We were the captains. Division III, man, in Newport News, Virginia, right after I left the military. But dude, this dude's going to Mizzou, killing it, dude, killing it. It's a brainiac amongst us.
Absolutely.
Let's hope the
We love having
basketball team
Michael.
can continue it. I don't know. Like I'm kind of with Shawn, probably how he feels about KU, and I don't have a lot of confidence. I think they can win the first game. After that, I think my confidence drops off a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Michael, about Mizzou, watching them all year. They are a scrappy bunch and they don't give up. And if you punch
Again,
them in the face, they come back. So
yeah. I was encouraged by their game against Florida. The scoreboard says they got killed, but without Mark Mitchell, I thought they played them pretty well. They got it down to 4 late in the second half there, and just doing that without a guy that made their team one-dimensional. Like, it gave me a little bit more optimism heading into the tournament, at least.
Shawn, do you want to tell everybody at home what we're going to be looking at Wednesday, what your idea was as far as the show? I know we're definitely going to be unpacking, looking at some bets. We'll get a little closer to over-unders and things like that. Parlays, obviously, want to parlay and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like there was something else that we wanted to address.
I don't remember.
Well, we're gonna follow that up too. Our Wednesdays.
Oh yeah. We'll have some bets. We'll have some bets. I'll have some bets ready. I'm already starting to, just by talking with you guys, starting to put some things through my brain here. But
Yeah.
I want to look at some money lines and kind of see where the money starts going over the next couple of days. But I'll put some bets up on the Facebook group too as I make them. Like I said, I already bet Texas plus 130. I expect that line to drop. I don't know why they're underdogs to Xavier. I think they're dog shit. And you know, I just bet UNC Wilmington because of the questionable injuries to Texas Tech, and I love the Yale Bulldogs, man. So that's where I'm starting early. I think the Yale's plus 250. I threw a little 50 spot on them. You know, turn that around, and we'll put some parlays up, and we'll get some things going on Wednesday that hopefully we break your bank.
Oh, dude, and I'll tell you what, we're gonna have a good time. But when it's go time, when we're in the chat at Want to Parlay, be ready, because there's gonna be some really weird hugs going on, where you might get little knee to the nuts or something, where you might see a John Cena turn baddie on you. You know, I think it's gonna be fun in that chat. I think we're gonna have a good time, man. I already seen some fires. I'm like, whoa, that shots were fired there, because this guy wasn't doing too well. I'm like, dang, man. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be fun. But that's a wrap, guys, for this Selection Sunday special of March Tourney on Tracks. Make sure you subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell, because we'll be breaking down every round of the tournament with in-depth analysis, special guests, and plenty of hot takes. We'll see you soon. Enjoy the madness, guys.
Enjoy. Thanks for showing out.
Thank you.